Okay, we have an author without an author's page. We got a Jonathan Whitney. They wrote The Pumpkin Man. Well, let's see if we are now in a Nightmare Before Christmas time. Let's see. Is this Halloween related or not? Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures SB2531 is presently not under containment. Field agents encountering SB2531 are to exercise caution to ensure the vine stem umbilical connection is not severed or damaged. Once secure, efforts are to be made to bring SB2531 to term, allowing indefinite containment. Description: SB2531 is a 70 kilograms, 150 pounds humanoid figure of indeterminate sex and pallid complexion, usually found in a state of advanced decay. Is it Jack? Is it Jack's skeleton? Is it Jack's skeleton? I'm just saying. In each occurrence, SB2531 has been discovered sealed within Coco Beta Maxima, commonly known as a giant squash or giant pumpkin. SB2531's height has been found to vary depending on the volume of the pumpkin's interior. DNA samples taken from SB2531 have confirmed that the humanoid figure, although usually severely decomposed, deformed, and contorted, shares 91.4% DNA match to that of a Homo sapiens sapiens and 7.2% match to that of Homo neanderthalensis. SB2531 is found connected to the interior wall of a giant pumpkin via an umbilical cord composed of both plant and animal matter. Is the pumpkin like a womb? Is that what? That's what I assume they're trying to say, right? The cord runs from the inside of the pumpkin stem to the base of SB2531's skull. SB2531 does not exhibit an abdominal navel. After the vine/stem/umbilical is severed or severely damaged, SB2531 begins to decompose at an exponential rate until only organic dust remains. Ah, gotcha. After an unknown amount of time, SB2531 is rediscovered within a new pumpkin. Despite efforts by the Foundation and non-Foundation to preserve SB2531, to date no attempts at containment have proven effective. Neanderthal and human, yeah. Mostly human, very small bit Neanderthal, right? The decomposition and recurrence of SB2531 is currently under investigation. Each pumpkin wherein SB2531 was discovered weighed between 340 kilograms, 750 pounds, and 370 kilograms, 816 pounds. Any evidence of an SB2531 reoccurrence should be investigated immediately. Local operatives have clearance to utilize Foundation infrared/ultrasound/ and satellite surveillance equipment for the apprehension of SB2531. I mean, that's technically what we all. Technically, yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, because like there was a time where there were two kinds, right? But technically, we are all a mix. But of course, if you also think about technicality, we're more Homo sapiens sapiens than Homo neanderthalis. 1984 newspaper article. Oh, here we go. 1984, you say? Pumpkin Man wins blue ribbon. Body found inside massive pumpkin has authorities baffled by ADN staff writer. On Friday, September 7th, fairgoers grew concerned about a noxious smell around the produced scent at the Alaska State Fairgrounds. By Sunday, the smell was so pungent that fair security were called in to investigate. It smelled like rotting meat. At first, I thought it had to be a joke, a prank, or something. Says, I'm still having a tough time wrapping my head around this one. It turns out the strange smell was originating from this year's winner of the Giant Pumpkin Contest. I remember the days when Giant Pumpkin Contest was a big thing. Like I would see like articles about it, and I was like, oh, that's a thing? And so I like the idea that the author took that concept and was like, yeah, but what if the giant pumpkin actually has a human in it? After a brief dispute with the farmer who registered the pumpkin, fair security proceeded to cut a small aperture into the squash. I think it's safe to say that nobody was ready to find what we found. Staring back at security personnel and fairgoers was a human face. The pumpkin and body were immediately taken to the Alaska State Medical Examiner office for further investigation, while was taken into custody by Palmer police for questioning. I was just as shocked as everyone else, says. But I knew right away that it was the Pumpkin Man. It turns out Pumpkin Man is somewhat of a rural legend in the Matsu Valley. You hear about him wailing in the field, but you just kind of think it's like a kid's story or something. Always swore up and down that he had Pumpkin Man. Always swore up and down that he had Pumpkin Man once. All I know is that you're supposed to leave those ones alone. An autopsy report released yesterday brought more perplexing information to the public. I don't know which is stranger, says Dr. of the ASMEO. The fact that the pumpkin showed absolutely no signs of tampering, or that the pumpkin showed absolutely no signs of tampering. The fact that the pumpkin showed absolutely no signs of tampering, or that the pumpkin showed. Authorities determined that the body had been dead for well over a week, and no foul play is suspected. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick around in the pumpkin business, stated after a nervous laugh. Who to say we can blame him? Man, they cut the cool image. Like you mean the newspaper or like the author? Subsequent interview. Interviewer, doctor. The author. Oh, okay, gotcha. There probably is like maybe in discussion. The following interview was conducted at the University of Alaska, or in the files. It's in the files, yeah, okay. The following interview was conducted at the University of Alaska, Anchorage building room on 1984. 1 week after the publication of the Pumpkin Man Wins Blue Ribbon article in the Anchorage Daily News. Begin log. 1984, 163240, AKDT. Hello, Mr. Thank you for coming in. No problem, and please call me. I imagine this is all about the Pumpkin Man. As a matter of fact, it is. Please let me cut right to the chase. By all means. In the Anchorage Daily News article, you mentioned that you had some familiarity with the local legend of the Pumpkin Man. Can you please elaborate? So it's campfire stories you're after? Sure. I'll tell you what I've heard. Thank you. I don't know when the story started, but I remember people talking about the Pumpkin Man when I was a little boy. He used to scare us a bit. Sometimes we even joke around about it, you know? Hey mom, this pie tastes a little funny. You cook up the Pumpkin Man? We laugh, but you know, inside we were always a little scared. Like if you said his name too many times, he'd come around or something. It's like the damn angels. Everybody always talks about how sweet and helpful, and how when their farm dog dies, he's coming back as a guardian angel or some such. It's all horseshit. Read the damn Bible. If you ever saw an angel in real life, you're more likely to shit your pants and dance. Scary as hell. Pumpkin Man was like that. Yes, but can you recall any specifics regarding the Pumpkin Man? Sorry, I'm getting on. Didn't used to meander so much. That's fine. This is all very interesting. Yeah, so Pumpkin Man comes around every few years. Some people think him showing up is a blessing. You know, next year will be a record harvest or something like that. But some folks think it's a pull, you know? You screwed up and now Pumpkin Man is coming to let you know to turn around quick. They probably call it do copyright. Okay, I will check what it's all about. So how's business? Damn, fine. You sciencey folks are great for the pocketbook, but I'm not so sure I want all this attention. Good not to go out on, I guess. So your reluctance to continue farming was sincere. It's like if you've gone fishing all your life, but one day you drag up a fish with a kid's finger sticking out the mouth. Every fish you pull up after that is sort of ruined. It's like that now. My fate, but I doubt it. Before, Pumpkin Man was sort of abstract. I imagined him like a cartoon character when I was a kid. Big jack-o'-lantern for a head. Seeing that was inside the pumpkin, well, some things you can't ever unsee. Know what I mean? More than you know. You know, I'd say I doubt the young lady, but I believe you. So yeah, you should sort of quietly hope to God that no Pumpkin Man shows up. I've heard of folks cutting up pumpkins and finding a bunch of slime inside, like rotten yogurt or custard or something. At the excuse me, yeah, that is correct, sir. Excuse me. Pronunciation. Oh, great. Okay. Actually, give me the 18 seconds one.
Adipocere.
Hell no!
Adipocere.
Adipocere. Okay, thank you. That sounds a little bit more correct. Adipocere. Excuse me? Adipocere. Fat wax is a cheesy, grayish-white mass produced when the body's protein converts to fat. Wow, well, isn't that pleasant? Yeah, weird stuff. It's not the usual rod you see in a pumpkin. They always say, that's him! But I was never sure, like I said in the article. Promised on his mother's grave that he opened one up and saw Pumpkin Man. He was so damn scared that he loaded it on his pickup and threw it in the river. He was never the brightest. We asked Mr. for an interview, but he has yet to get back to us. Again, thank you for your cooperation. No problem. Yeah, I made a big mistake saying his name to the papers. He'll probably never have us ever for dinner again. Funny how I did validate his claims, but now everybody thinks he's crazier than ever. I really regret dragging him into it, shooting off my big mouth. Are there any stories of Pumpkin Man outside the pumpkin, or is he always locked away? Oh, sure. Those are the worst ones. They say when he's about to come out, he wails something fierce, screaming like a banshee. Anybody with a lack of sense gets the hell out of the field. Of course, in the stories, it always happens at night, and more often than not, there's a big old lightning storm. Even though lightning is about as common as Russians around here. Those stories are the worst, because he's always stalking around in the mist, watching. I think that's almost worse than coming up and eating bad little boys and girls. I mean, what the hell is he doing? What does he want? Where did he come from? If he had us up, we could at least figure he was a devil or something. If he helped us out, maybe he'd be like Frankenstein's monster or something. You know, kind of malevolent, but confused. But he just lingers and watches. Why? my horror fan ass would be like, actually Frankenstein's monster was not at all malevolent. He was a massive shithead. Like he was actually really you know, malicious. Not towards everybody else, but definitely towards his own dad. Do you know anyone who has seen him outside of the pumpkin? I mean, out in the fields. Most of the stories I've had him out in the woods, staying on the fringe, you know, out in the mist. I don't know of anybody by name. Friend of a friend type thing, but I can ask around the local watering hole. I better use this fame while I got. Think I could write a book? In the article you mentioned, just a second. All I know is that you were supposed to leave those ones alone. What do you mean by that? You know, I've asked myself the same question. For the life of me, I can't remember if I heard that from somebody or if it's just a feeling. You know, we have some of the puzzle pieces, and sometimes I think I can see the bigger picture. Pretty presumptuous, I know. I think he doesn't want to be seen. I'm not sure if he'd be ashamed or angry. Either way, I'd rather let him slink around in the woods, unseen than have him upset or ashamed. Ignorance is bliss, and in this case, I'm just fine sticking my head in the sand. Thank you so much, Mr. Is there anything else you can tell us? Nothing that someone else can tell you better, I'm afraid. Well, again, thank you. Your information is invaluable. If you can think of anything else, please don't hesitate to call. Thanks. It's not every day I get the number of a beautiful young woman. Or will the Mrs. Fink and log 1984 1636 55. Close the statement. Should be pathically monitored. Has given Foundation personnel full permission to inspect his farmlands surrounding acreage. Continue attempts to interview. Pumpkin Man is just a chill guy. Thank goodness he used Frankenstein's monster. He's not a Frankenstein, guys. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, technically they both are. Because Frankenstein is the last name. And Frankenstein's monster is basically like in technical terms Frankenstein's son. So technically yes, he is, but I know what you mean. I'm in the middle. I'm very Swiss about it. Like if you say Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster, I know which one you mean. The moment you say Victor Frankenstein is when like, oh okay, we talk about him. But can I just say, as a kid, I didn't know how creepy this idea is. But as an adult, can you imagine? Because the book starts off with, you know, a ship in the middle of like of like the Arctic, right? Or like at least somewhere where it's where like, there's like ice caps and ice being built up, right? So can you imagine? You are a crew on that ship. It's freezing cold, and you see some weird figure in the distance just walking away. And later on, you find out that figure you saw is some amalgamation of body parts that has maliciously screwed over the person who has created him, and is now on the run. Like, as a kid, that sounds silly, but as an adult, I'd be like, if I was on that crew, I'd be like, can we go home? I don't want to be out here when that thing is around. I'm sorry, I'd rather not. Subsequent interview. Another one. Okay, interviewed. Doctor. The following interview was conducted at the residence on 1984. 8 days after the publication of the Pumpkin Man Wins Blue Ribbon article in the Anchorage Daily News. Why is it always that the first 2 SCPs always take like roughly an hour for me to read, but then like the last 3 SCPs take like the last 4 SCPs take me also an hour? It's like I don't like why is it always the first 2 that take the longest? It's not. I have a lot of videos that the middle take the longest, and sometimes the end does it too as well. But I just always look at the time and I'm like, man, I'm almost looking an hour for 2 SCPs. That's crazy. Get the hell off my land! This is trespassing. I want to see my lawyer. Please, mister. Let's not make this more difficult than it needs to be. Well, if that line ain't straight out of the soaps, I'm not telling you shit. Ditto expunged. Please, I'll tell you anything, just please. What the fuck happened? What did they do? Please tell us about the fall you discovered the Pumpkin Man. Okay. I was just scared, okay? He's not really human, right? Like an animal. You can't write me up for that, right? We have no interest in bringing criminal charges against you if you cooperate, mister. And I would appreciate if you would give us the same courtesy. Alright, okay. It was right around September. Or, maybe. I was going to go visit the kids down in... And was going to look after the place while I was gone. I was going to be out during the harvest season, but there wasn't much to harvest back in 19... So I wasn't losing any sleep over it. I'm mostly a cow and chicken guy anyhow. Never had a green thumb like... But, you know, put some carrots, pumpkins, and potatoes every year. I don't mean to interrupt, but who is... My late wife. I see. Please continue. So, I see one of those pumpkins is getting really big. It's not too weird. Sometimes the seed package gets a wonky seed in there. I get a little excited and starts talking about how he might enter it into the fair. I mean, he didn't tell me, but down at the... said he was chomping at the bit. Always had a greedy eye. I started taking good care of it, thinking he might share some of the fair money. Or maybe I'll just let him have it for taking care of the place. But about 2 weeks before I'm packed and on the plane, he fucking stiffs me with the bill at... I'm pissed and drunk when I get home, so I drive out in the field with my old Ford and an axe. I whack into the pumpkin and start screaming. Are you telling me the Pumpkin Man was alive? Oh yeah, that's putting it lightly. He was freaking out, thrashing around in there, hollowing. He was thumping and kicking against those hollow pumpkin walls. I was afraid to get out, so I just kept swinging. It eventually stopped hollowing, and I knocked the pumpkin apart enough to load it into the truck. I think that's when the fear really set in. When we were kids, we used to put out food for the Pumpkin Man, and I had killed him. What did it mean for me? You know, the curse. I was so scared. I loaded him up in the truck too. He was dead by then, and not too big by the looks of him. I was running on pure adrenaline, so he didn't weigh hardly a thing. I drove out to the river and pushed him in. If I saw a monster in real life, my plan was to always knock it out somehow and take it to studying. I'm not terrified, I'm curious. Good luck. Let's not forget that this is a monster that is not only like 2 meters tall, but also was also like super strong and can handle the elements of weather. So the monster was able to walk around in minus 0 degrees Celsius, no problem. I would not go close to anything like that. And if you're gonna be like, well, I would have a gun, I'm like, dude, this was like the 1800s. Guns back then would not be as effective. So you're saying that the Pumpkin Man was not only animate, but verbal. Oh yeah. I mean, he wasn't spouting Shakespeare or anything, but he was hollowing like a baby stuck in the man's body. It was damn eerie. Damn eerie. A baby. Can you show us where you dispose of his body? Also, you can't tell me, dude. You can't tell me you would have been scared to put a flashlight on in a warehouse where potentially a person was there, but then if a monster showed up, you'd be like, okay, let me put my big boy pants on. Let me put my big boy pants on and fucking let me tackle him. I'll take him. I can handle it. Sure, anything you want. You said you used to put out food for the Pumpkin Man when you were younger. Please elaborate. Sure. We all used to do it. We put out a little bread or pieces of meat. They disappeared the next day, so we knew he was out there. Probably just the crows, you know. Or mice or something. And back then it was a simple fact that it was a Pumpkin Man, just like Santa. Did you ever see the Pumpkin Man when you were younger? I'd see things, weird things, you know, when I was out hunting or whatever, bare feet in the silt mills out of town. Like piles of rocks around the pumpkins, you know, like fairy rings. Ask anybody in Matsu Valley. There's one time there were neat little piles of shit throughout the patch. Human manure type stuff kind of sitting in these little shallow holes. Weird as hell. Thought it might be a trick or something. Like tipping outhouses. Sometimes tools disappear or shows up someplace strange, but you can never really tell if you left them somewhere stupid or if somebody just borrowed them without asking. You know, somebody, not Pumpkin Man. Thank you. You've been very helpful. If you can think of anything else, or if you see anything else regarding the Pumpkin Man, please contact us as soon as possible. Whatever you say, lady. End log. 1984. 8/3/24 o'clock. Closing statement. Should be actively monitored for 3 months. After 3 months, should be passively monitored. 1 year of cocaine was confiscated from the missile. Of course he was. And remains in Foundation holding. Should decide to approach officials about Foundation trespassing and assault. Regular sweeps of farm and surrounding forest should be scheduled before and during the harvest season. Oh, they're keeping the cocaine in case he's like, people came to my house and were like, oh, we are official. We're official, like, part of the police force, and we found cocaine in his house. We had, like, some information that he had drugs. Yeah, okay, so they have, like, some fallback in case he rats them out. So you kill the guy, and he's trying to regenerate, and you won't let him regenerate. I mean, to be fair, if I hacked into a pumpkin, and suddenly there was somebody in there yelling at me, I remember our urban legends about a monster. I also would not let it regenerate. I'd be like, oh hell no. That would be the equivalent of like being like, oh yeah, the boogeyman, exists. Oh yeah, no, it's just a story. But then one day you look under the bed and there's actually somebody there. And the only way you found out is because you rolled you rolled some sort of like metal ball underneath the bed, and then you hear like a ow, and you're like, oh shit, there's somebody there. You know what I mean? Like, but what can the Pumpkin Man do? It seems very vague-ish. It seems like it's at the end like it's like every urban legend, right? It's like, hey, be careful, otherwise this thing will get you, or that thing will come. Yeah, I mean, the fact is that it just screams and stares, but that doesn't. if you make an urban legend of a character, of them being all like, it's like, oh, the Pumpkin Man will come. It would be like the same thing as like for example Krampus, right? If you like say like Krampus takes the bad kids and then takes them away and then eats them, and then you find out actually Krampus is a chill dude. Like later on you find out like if you do some more research, like actually no, he's kind of nice. He just takes him home, has a little bit of like hot cocoa, and then play video games, and then sends it back home. It's like, yeah, cool, that's cool. But if you as a grown man see Krampus like taking your child, you're not gonna think that. You're gonna be like, shotgun. you're not gonna realize it until it's too late. Addendum. To date, the Foundation has had 4 documented encounters with SCP-2531 dating from 1984 to 2014. The original SCP-2531 file was comprised of -1 through -4, assuming that each fetus was a separate but similar entity. Oh, hey, Pumpkin Man has siblings. Let them all come. Let them, come on, let them have a little tea party! However, further testing has determined that in all occurrences, SCP-2531 is the same entity sharing a 100% DNA match. Oh, okay, it's not siblings. It's just clones. Physical evidence, such as marks made by samples taken testing, see archive data, or damage to SCP-2531 induced while cutting open the pumpkin wombs further supports this theory. However, the pumpkin wombs in each instance have tested as unique specimens of varying color, size, and genetic makeup. This file has been updated to rectify this error. Archive data available below. 2014. They could be twins. Do twins actually share 100% DNA matches? Is that a fact? Like, I know they share a lot of DNA matches, but is it like a full-on 100%? I never like looked into that. Now that I think about it, and I don't remember if we talked about this in biology. Archive data. It depends on the type of twins. Okay. S-1. 1984. -1 was removed from pumpkin room, installed in the Alaska State Medical Examiner's cold chambers. Identical twins do. That's okay. So they do. Gotcha. Held at positive temperatures of 2 degrees Celsius, 36 degrees Fahrenheit, to 4 degrees Celsius, 39 degrees Fahrenheit. -1 was completely reduced to organic dust in under 58 hours, exponentially decomposition. Pumpkin/room decomposed at a standard rate. Blood, tissue samples, and frozen remains were discovered from the Alaska State Medical Examiner office and are currently stored at Site 103. Also, let's not forget that when Pumpkinhead does come out, when Pumpkin Man comes out of the pumpkin, he does scream like a banshee, and banshees are not very, are not the nicest of beings out there. -2. 1992. -2 was removed from pumpkin/room and stored inside 103 standard morgue cold chamber held at a negative temperature of -40 degrees Celsius, -40 degrees Fahrenheit to -50 degrees Celsius, -58 degrees Fahrenheit. Man, Fahrenheit does not make sense to me. How it goes up, like I just don't understand it. -2 was completely reduced to organic dust in 8 days, exponentially decomposition. Pumpkin/room decomposed at a standard rate. -3, 1994. -3 was submerged in liquid nitrogen connected to pumpkin/room to induce mummification at Site 103. 4 distinct letters were inscribed upon the right palm of -3 using permanent ink, B, tattoo needle, G, scalpel laceration, Q, and grafting laser, W. -3 was completely reduced to organic dust in 16 days, accelerated decomposition despite mummification. Pumpkin/room remains in cold storage, Site 103, Vault. -4, 2014, God, 20 years later. -4, attached to pumpkin/room and living squash plant were contained at Site 103. Ultrasound tests confirmed -4 exhibited signs of life. Although nutrients were provided, the stem was damaged in transport. -4 subsequent death and decomposition began 13 hours after transport. SCP-2531 was removed from pumpkin/room, and although rigor mortis had begun, -4 showed a remarkable lack of decomposition. 3 letters were observed inscribed upon the right palm. Here we go. Of -4, C-3, both subdermal scalpel laceration, Q, and grafting laser burn, W, were clearly discernible. The tattoo letter G was visible only as irritated skin. There were no physical trace of ink within the punctures. There were also no physical trace of permanent ink. So this confirms that Pumpkin Man is just being reincarnated or resurrected, basically. It's being well, both terms work in here. Like it's being in a loop of resurrection. So whatever damage the previous pumpkin, or like at least some damage what the previous Pumpkin Man had, does seem to like traverse to the next one. Like they come back to life with that mark, right? So I think the only thing that doesn't happen is they don't have any like axe wounds in them, like from when they got killed, which is interesting. But there's like there's some ways to like some things being sticking. So something sticks with them and some things don't. I guess because marking them with permanent ink and tattoo needle and laceration and grafting laser is not a injury. Maybe. There was no physical trace of ink within the punctures. There was also no physical trace of permanent ink. Dash 4 was implanted with a GPS tracking device as well as a RFID chip below the left clavicle. Dash 4 was stored at room temperature to attempt to induce recurrence for future containment. Dash 4 was completely reduced to organic dust in 31 hours. Exponential decomposition. Both GPS and RFID devices showed no evidence of decomposition. Pumpkin/room remains in cold storage site 103 volt. And then Doctor. No, DNA and physical evidence have both confirmed that Dash 1 through Dash 4 are actually the same entity. I request an update to the SB2531 file rectifying this error at the earliest convenience. As long as the pumpkins he has attached to our reality. Yeah. As long as the pumpkins he can grow in it, become a full man, break out, scream, and then just stand around. But yeah, it does seem like there's not really a lot of information of what it will do once it has actually broken out fully. It seems like it always kind of was a little bit prevented before it broke out, and any information of it getting out of the pumpkin and doing anything like that has been mentioned by somebody else. Oh wait, hold on, guys. The files, right? Oh, here we go. Pumpkin. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe you can join the band from 2530, maybe. But yeah, see, I mean, yeah, that would creep me out as well. That would definitely creep me out if I saw that. If I opened up a pumpkin that was in there, I'd be like, what the hell? What the fuck is this? Dante moment. What the hell is this?